Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stickity Stacks and this thing, baby, representing TKOG. And today I'm going to be pretty much doing DRAGONMAID test hands, but I wanted to start the video off with a really awkward hand that I drew that actually turned into be a crazy field. It's pretty cool like how this deck can just get so much out of so little, and even when your hands look bad, you can make crazy fields and still play through multiple hand traps. It's insane. If you haven't done so already, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. The links in the description box show all the ways that you can support me or the channel, or even just become a member of the Discord. I'd appreciate if you have a look at those, see whatever interests you. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to start off with this hand in particular. So as you can see, it's not really like a strong hand per se. I technically only have one starter. The first thing that came to mind is like, I mean, if you just don't want to lose to any hand traps at all, you just activate changeover and just pretty much make a fusion and just go from there, you know. But that's not going to get me anywhere. So I decided to take the risk with this hand and I activated the Remus. And now you guys are going to see what I was able to get. I've showed this in the video, but you guys, one Remus is very, very nutty in this deck. Like, if you just resolve Remus and combo with it, it gets you so far ahead, it's crazy. So we're just going to Remus for Ravine. We're going to activate Ravine and discard Tidying for cost. And we're going to add Legatus. Remember, this hand looked pretty bricky. You had Droplet, Tidy, Changeover, Earnest, and Remus. So not very many starters, but it's crazy how like any of your one-card starters that put 2 dragons on the field can get you so far. So we're going to add Legatus and summon him. We're going to activate Remus's Graveyard effect, summon him. I'm just going to banish him because I'm immediately going to Synchro Summon into Gay Dirk. Notice how we have not normal summon. That's important because that's going to come into play when I just did this combo right before I made this vid. So I'm actually going to add Chamber and I'm going to discard Chamber. And the next thing I'm going to do is activate Tidying, summon Chamber. And you could change the order, but you'll still get the same results. Like, for example, right now, I'm adding Chamber and discarding her and then summoning her. And, like, basically I'm going to make Romulus. You could also add Black Metal Dragon, because that's a level 4 lower dragon, and discard Earnest, which is just makes Gay Dirk that powerful in this deck. It's crazy how good this card is. Like, I just don't see myself not playing the Dragoonity cards because they made my ceiling way higher. This makes the deck better even with LP banned. I think the deck's actually better right now. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just going to do it this way. We're going to add Chamber, discard Chamber, because we're going to search Black Metal later in the combo. Then we're going to Tidying to summon Chamber back and use her effect. Search ourselves a copy of Tidying since we already drew the changeover. And then you're going to link both of these into a copy of Romulus. You are going to activate Romulus's effect to add a Ravine or a Dragoonity spell or trap. So what we're going to add here is going to be Dragoonity Glow. And we're going to activate the Glow, add ourselves a copy of Mistletoe. And Glow's going to go to the grave. We're going to summon Mistletoe by attributing Romulus. Effect to equip Gay Dirk, and then effect of Glow to summon Gay Dirk. Now we're going to activate Gay Dirk again, and this time we're going to add Black Metal. And then we're going to send Earnest, because you add a level 4 lower dragon or winged beast, then you discard 1 dragon or winged beast. So it can either be a Stratos or a Foolish Burial. Either way, the card's insane. The card's absolutely insane, super powerful, and very generic. Well, generic for this archetype, I would say. Because honestly, I wouldn't say it's generic. It's pretty hard to make. You need a Dragon Tuner and a Winged Beast. That's what keeps it from pseudo being abusable, but this list makes it pretty strong. So we add Black Metal, discard Earnest. Now we're going to overlay into Heretic Dragon of Atum. So since this card is basically my new LP, I'm going to use LP as a proxy because I still haven't got this card. It's not that it's expensive, it's just finding somebody with the card. We're going to activate it, detaching Gay Dirk. And what we're going to summon from our deck is actually going to be Apsarauder. You can summon any dragon. There's no restrictions on the levels or anything like that. So we're going to summon Apsarauder. Thank you, Lord Jesus. We're going to take the Atum and the Apsarauder. we're going to link those off into spheres, and that's going to trigger the apps router to add ourselves a copy of Rocket Tracer. So as you can see, the Dragoonity Remus actually let us see all of our engines. Our Rocket engine, our DRAGONMAID engine, and the Dragoonity engine itself. And those are the 3 engines that my deck is comprised of. So the way I see this is DRAGONMAIDs are the focus, because there's like 20, I want to say like 25 or 26 DRAGONMAID cards in my deck. That's basically half the deck. Then you've got like, you basically got like a 6 to 7 card, actually like an 8 card Rocket engine, and then like a 8 card, or actually like a 10 card Dragoonity engine. So the other main focus is Dragoonity, and Dragoonity's kind of mesh everything together, so you actually wouldn't mind seeing those starters over any others, because it's like the Dragoonity starters let you see all your engines. The DRAGONMAIDs also can let you see all your engines, because anything that makes Romulus can get access to your whole deck. But the least impactful would be like the Rockets, because you can't really extend unless you're locking yourself out. So the Rockets are like the finishing touch. So we're using Apps Router to search Tracer after we make the seal with the Atum and the Apps Router. The next thing we're going to do is normal summon for turn. We had a normal summon. I literally came up with this combo like 10 minutes ago. I was just doing a test hand, and I was like, let me make a video about this because this is crazy. This is a really cool combo. So we're going to summon Striker, and we're going to just, chain block. So we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves, thank you Lord Jesus, we're going to grab Black Metal and our Boot Sector launch. And Striker being summoned this late in the combo actually it's very, very imperative. You guys are about to see right now. Because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to activate Boot Sector launch. And I just want to share, like, I have 6 cards in hand right now, and this field, and this setup in grave. So this is like a really, really good combo for follow-ups too. That's something I always enjoyed. Like, my DRAGONMAIDs have always been able to play through a lot. Well, the new list that ever since I started playing like a combo variant, I've always been able to play through a lot, make really, really, really good boards that aren't susceptible to Dark Ruler to a large extent, and still have a win condition backed up through Dark Ruler and stuff like that, and also having so much follow-ups that if you cannot break the board in OTK, you're pretty much fighting a losing battle. So we're going to activate launch, we're going to summon our Tracer, and then, guess what, you guys? We're going to link the Tracer off into Pisty. And since these both point to the same zone, we're going to activate Pisty, and we're actually going to bring back the Gay Dirt. That's the target of choice. You're going to see exactly why, because this is going to equate to another negate. Now, there are multiple options here. I can also just use the changeover to make a card like Borload Furious Dragon, and then basically use Red MD to bring back my chamber and bounce her with the changeover's graveyard effect, and end on Furious plus Shao. So there's options. I can show you guys the different options, but we're going to get to what I went for when I did this combo slash test hand. So we're going to go ahead and summon Red MD, because we're not going to activate Gay Dirt yet, because we need to get out of Pisty's lock to do what I'm about to do next. So we're going to banish Pisty, summon Red MD. Now we're going to activate Gay Dirt. We're going to add Baby Rock and discard Baby Rock. If you don't do it this way, Baby Rock's not going to be able to be summoned, because that's what Pisty says. You can only summon dragons. And also keep in mind, you're locked out of summoning anything from the extra deck that's not dragons. Funny enough, every single card in my extra deck is all dragons. Like, this is one of the perfect decks to also main deck Rivalry of the Warlords in, because a lot of the times you just only summon dragons unless you go for literally like Baby Rock and Legatus are the only non-dragons that you summon. So you're going to add Baby Rocks, discard it, summon it. And I just find that Crystal Wing is a lot more powerful than Borload Furious, because you already get interactions that can disrupt cards from the field without negating them, because you have Tidying and Seals. So you don't really need a pop and then 2 bounces. I'd rather have multiple negates and multiple bounces. You want the variety and diversity in your interruptions so that you can interact better against decks that could normally play through multiple negates. So decks that could play through multiple negates sometimes fold to just 2 bounces or 1 well-timed pop. So that's why, again, you want the diversity in your interruptions. So now we're going to Synchro into Crystal Wing. And next, you guys might think, oh, you can use Crystal Wing, right? Summon back Tracer, right? And here goes another good option. or you could use Crystal Wing, use Red MD, Red MD, Summon Back Tracer, and you can actually activate Changeover, fuse Striker and Red MD into Borreload Furious, and you can end on Crystal Wing, Furious, and Savage with Seal and Tidying. Now, that's one option, and that is going to basically give you much more interruptions. You're going to get the Boros out, and you're going to have Crystal Wings. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interruptions with a brick hand. It really is like a brick hand. Only starter you had was Remus. So that's one option. Remember how I'm like explaining all the different ways you can change your inboard? So what I chose over Furious and Savage together was this. I actually elected to summon back my Chamber. Yeah, I actually chose Shao over both those interruptions, and I'll explain why. So you're going to fuse these two off, summon Shao, and your inboard, instead of having 5 interruptions, is actually going to be 4. But do you know why this is better? Because Shao actually is 2 interruptions by itself when you have cards that can interact by bouncing dragons because of House's effect. So by ending on this board, you're going to get a lot more follow-ups because Shao is going to summon your Chamber and standby, and that's just going to allow you to search yourself a follow-up. Your graveyard's loaded. You already have a ton of follow-ups. Follow-up here, follow-up there, follow-up there. If you commit to the Borreload Furious and the Borreload Savage, you lose a bit of follow-ups for what appears to be more interruptions. But the thing is, Borreload Furious is a pop, Savage is a negate. Did you know that Shao equates to both of those? Shao's a negate. She summons out her Anagram House, and then your Tidying or your Spheres can trigger the house to pop whenever you need it to. So this is still going to pop. I mean, sure, Furious can pop any card, but idealistically, the only cards you would need to really pop would be monsters. If you're playing against a trap deck, you've already won, and that's just the truth. So this is actually your inboard. You're ending on Crystal Wing, Shao, Seals, and Tidying, and the droplets that I drew, which just adds insult to injury. And it's a really strong board. And what you're going to do next to finish the combo, just to give yourself the maximum follow-ups, you're going to activate Striker Dragon's effect on itself, add Tracer, because you might not get another chance. This may die on your opponent's turn. And now you have a Tracer, so follow-up number 1. Follow-up number 2 and 3. Tidying is 2 follow-ups in itself. When you bounce, that's a follow-up. Effect and Grave follow-up. So that's 3 follow-ups, 4 follow-ups off Spheres, 5 off of Launch, 6 off of Shao. It's just crazy. And then you see your Grave Changeover, 7. It's just amazing how this deck can make a board that is so hard to break that it requires a lot of resources, and then you just literally remake the board again. A lot of decks that can make boards like this can only do it once, and after that they either run out of steam or everything they make after that is not even comparable to what they made on their first turn. This deck can just consistently spit out Shao, a Seal, plus Tidying on its follow-ups, and since I didn't summon Savage or Furious, on my follow-up board, I can also make either one of these or both, plus still making Shao, plus still making Seal, and still having another Tidying. And if you can break my first board, and I make my second board even more powerful, you're not going to be able to break it. You just won't have the resources. So now I'm just going to do some test hands. And each combo is pretty long, so it's not like I'm going to get a bunch of them in, but you guys at least get to see just how strong this deck really is and why it's one of my favorites. And whenever I feel like quote-unquote sweaty, like I just want to win, I'll play like this deck, or I'll play Shaddolls, or I'll go in with Drytrons. If I'm like playing to win, these are the decks I play because they're just way too hard to beat. I mean, sometimes they're more difficult to pilot, but I mean, it's the reward that comes with it. It's pretty gratifying. Like if it was dummy easy mode, like I ain't gonna lie, like I like decks like Tri-Brigade, and I like decks like Zodiac and Eldritch, and even Invoked, like those decks are very, very simple. Like they're good, but they're simple, and it's not very gratifying to win with those because there's not a lot of thinking that's required. But with this deck, there's a ton of thinking. There's so much stuff that, like, if you don't play this deck long enough, you're not even gonna understand really how to combo effectively. So now we're gonna do a test hand. So we're drawing Tidying, Guard Dragon, Larper, Tracer, and Kitchen. This is actually a really, really good hand. On my next video, if you guys are interested in stuff like this, I can do Dragon Maids versus hand traps. The same way I did Shaddolls versus hand traps. So we're going to start with normal summon kitchen. And we're going to use her effect. And I feel since I have tidying, it's imperative to prioritize chamber to get my changeover so that I can have my interruptions from the Dragon Maid portion of my deck. So I'm actually going to add chamber and discard chamber. Next, I'm going to take this kitchen and I'm going to link her into a striker. Striker effect is going to grab boot sector launch as soon as I find it. Should have shuffled better because my glow and my ravine and my Mistleton are all next to each other. So that means I didn't shuffle good enough because those were all next to each other from my last combo. I'm glad I didn't draw all three of those because that would have really sucked. So I should have power shuffled better. So we're going to grab launch. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm not even going to shuffle because I'm going to keep going back in. The next thing I'm going to do is activate World Legacy, targeting chamber. And all you need in this deck to combo is 2 dragons. It's basically like playing warriors. Make I Sold, you combo. This deck, make Romulus, you combo. Make Seal, you can just get yourself an interruption plus a follow-up. Bare minimum. Chamber effect, add changeover. And I am going to go into the Romulus play. Now, if I were playing around hand traps, I would actually activate changeover here, fuse with the chamber, and the Lorper, summon a Shao, and then use boot sector launch to bring out Rocket Tracer, and then turn the Tracer and the Striker into Romulus and combo that way. But I'm just going to do a test hand, which basically means I'm just going to play my cards out. But if I were doing, like say this was Dragon Maids versus hand trap, I'd be playing totally different. I'd be playing the way I actually play in tournaments. So we're going to take these, make a Romulus here, because we do not have enough gas to make Seal first and then make Romulus under, but we do have enough gas to push. So we're going to grab ourselves a copy of Dragon Ravine. We're going to activate the Ravine, and we're actually going to discard one of the most expendable cards in our hand, being Changeover. We're going to add ourselves a copy of Remus. We're going to activate the Remus, add ourselves another copy of Ravine. And we're going to activate the second Ravine. We're actually going to discard this Lorpar. And we're going to add ourselves a copy of Legatus as soon as I find it. So many different ways we can combo too. Every time you can combo, you have tons of options. It sometimes will lead to decision anxiety if you're new to the deck, because there's so many inboards you can make. You'll sometimes just make the one that looks the best in your mind, but it's not gonna do the best against every deck. So normally I go for what beats the meta. That's the board I'll go for. So we're going to summon Legatus, summon Remus, Synchro with both of these. Make the Gaydirk. Even though I'm playing recklessly because this is a test hand, if I did get in a Beerud, I would still have Tracer Tidying. I'd still end on multiple interruptions. So we're going to go Gaydirk effect. And what we're going to do is essentially just add the Baby Rock and discard the Baby Rock. Actually, thinking about it, we could even add Red MD. I mean, not Red MD, we could add Black Metal, discard Tracer, summon Black Metal, go into Spheres, Black Metal search Red MD, banish this, summon himself, and then we could bring back one of our Dragon Maids. Yeah. So we wouldn't get the Crystal Wing but we definitely would get something better than Crystal Wing. So actually, that's what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to add black metal here, and I'm going to send the Tracer. Oh, wait, never mind. I normal summoned this turn, so I can't do that. Whoopsies. So yeah, we're going to go that route. So we're going to add Baby Rock. So I'm just thinking, like, should I do something different than end on Crystal Wing is what I'm thinking. Because this is still a really good inboard that I'm going to get. Because I'm basically changing it up, but thinking about it more, I feel like I would want to do something different. Let me see what I can do different here. Maybe going for Gayderg is not what I should do. Maybe, because I can summon Remus because I control Romulus. So maybe I don't add Legatus when I discard Lorper. Instead, I discard Lorper and Oh! Remus is about to be clutch. Remus is about to put in work. Okay, so I discard Lorper, and I send myself a... As soon as I find it, an Armogram, right? So I send Armogram, and then I activate Remus's effect because I control Romulus. That's a Dragoonity monster. Summon it, link it off. Oh man, this is about to be tight. So I summon Pisty here, move its zone, activate Pisty, and what I'll do with that is I'll bring back one of my Dragonmaids, and then I'll go, you know, changeover effect to bounce. We'll summon Armogram by banishing the... Yeah, we'll banish the Striker in the kitchen. I don't want to banish Lorper like ever in my life. Summon Armogram. Then we'll fuse these two off. We're going to end on Shao. And what we'll do next is we'll actually just take these two. Link them off. Should have done that first. Made them into spheres first. Link them off in the spheres. And then, you know, basically end on Savage, Shao, Spheres, Tiding. And keep the War Legacy. So I'd pop Launch over popping this with Tracer. Because this can bring back Tracer without having to worry about my opponent controlling more than me. So I would pop this with Tracer. Keep this so I have something good to bounce off Spheres in case I don't need to interrupt my opponent with it. And yep. So that's another great inboard. And I have an extra follow-up. Because Armogram helps me if my board gets broken. I can summon it into my opponent's established board, use it to attack over something, and also force a negate after that. So Armogram, as a follow-up, actually can dismantle 2 disruptions by itself. Just super strong. Including against dolls when they have Winda up, I just summon Armogram and just negate the Winda, which is super great. So let's go ahead and shuffle. Let me see. Okay, so maybe we have time to do one more. It does take a lot of time for these. This deck is... There's just so many different things you have to do before you even get to your inboard that it does take quite a bit of time. And there's some intricacies involved as well. There's some little things that you can't neglect. Otherwise, like, you're just going to be screwing yourself over. And those little things that you can't neglect, they take time as well. So that's why every test hand is normally going to be pretty long. So we're drawing Tracer, Hospitality, Changeover, Quick Launch, and Gold Sark. This is actually a crazy hand. This hand's actually really good. So I would start with Gold Sark. I wish this card was at 3. I'd actually play 3 Gold Sark. That's how good it is in this deck. And look at that. All 4 of these Wind Dragons are just bunched up. What is going on with that? And then Boots Hector Launch and Dragoonity goes right next to him, along with the Recharger. I could combo with that hand, but it would have been such a strange hand. But I'm going to banish Tempest. All the targets out search for Tempest. And I'm actually going to search, believe it or not, I'm going to search for Remus. This is going to be a very big combo. If you start with Remus, it's huge because you get to resolve Heretic Dragon of Atum. Because your Romulus can search Glow instead of Ravine now. So that's a big, big deal. And because this is Wind and the way Goldsark synergizes with Tempest, it makes Goldsark a very superior starter. So next we're just going to go Remus. And we will add ourselves a copy of Dragon's Ravine. I played 3 Ravines in this list. It's just way too good. It's a starter by itself. So we're going to go Ravine. Discard the most expendable card in our hand would be the Changeover. Keep our extenders. And we're going to go ahead and add ourselves a copy of Legatus. Summon the Legatus, summon the Remus, Remus effect. And we're going to go into Gaydirge. You always want to make Gaydirge before you go into Rom, because these can make Romulus, but you want this engraved first to get the Mistleton and the Afterglow to give the full value for the combo. So like I said, it's the little things. And what I'll do here is I didn't normal summon again, so I'm going to add Parlor and discard Parlor. Now, this could actually make Romulus by itself, because I could add Baby Rock, discard it, make Romulus off of those, because that's a Dragon and a Winged Beast. But I have the gas, so I'm going to use the gas. Summon back the Parlor. I'm going to Foolish her Anagram, and I'm going to use her effect to actually dump Tidying, so I get another extender. So I use my extender to put a body on field and give me another extender. That's like, this deck is just so explosive. Like it's crazy. This deck plays through so much. No cap. So we have this point in the combo. Next, we're going to take these, and those are going to transform themselves into a Romulus. We're going to add the Glow. We're going to activate the Glow. We're going to add the Mistleton. We're going to summon the Mistleton. Equip the Gaydirge. Use the Glow to summon the Gaydirge. And again, we haven't normal summoned. Keep that in mind because we do have a dragon. So we're going to use Gaydirge. And we're going to add ourselves a copy of Black Metal Dragon, because we also have not gone into Striker Dragon yet. And we're going to discard Tracer. We've got a quick launch. We have access to Tracer in another way. So drawing those multiples actually benefited us for this combo. Next, we're going to overlay these two. Summon our new LP, Heretic Dragon of Atum, rank 6. Summons any dragon from the deck. Detach Gaydirge for cost. And normally, if you didn't have Rocket access, you would summon Absorautor, just because Tracer paired with the Boot Sector launch is just a whole nother extender. But in this scenario, I would say we could definitely afford to summon Chamber so that we can have access to our Tidying, which is super duper imperative. So yeah, we would summon Chamber here. Use her effect to search Tidying. And we would actually convert these into a Seal. And then we'd normal summon for turn. Crazy, crazy, crazy combos. Summon Black Metal, go Striker, add both Red MD and launch. And this launch is actually going to come up because we can Striker at the end of the combo to add Tracer back. And we'll have another follow-up, just another body that we can use for our next turn. And from here, we have Changeover and Tidying Engrave, which is fat, fat, fat. So what we can do here is we can actually go ahead and activate that launch, that quick launch, summon out our other Rocket Tracer. And it's okay to do that because we have Striker Dragon up, right? And Striker can add the Tracer back so that Boot Sector launch can summon it back. So we're just getting free real estate. Summon our Pisty. And from here, we're actually going to use Pisty to bring back the Gaydirge, very similar to the last combo. Bring back the Gaydirge. Striker is going to actually target the Pisty. Pop the Pisty. Add the Tracer. Activate Gaydirge. Woo! These are some some fire combos. Yep. It's getting about time to be the end of the video. And we're just gonna do the same thing. Baby Rock, you know, summon, go into Crystal Wing, and from here we can actually go ahead and summon the Red MD by banishing the Striker. Or actually, I like Striker to be there, so maybe. No, that's the most expendable way to summon Red MD. So we're gonna summon Red MD, and we're actually going to use him to bring back Gator because we already have a way to bring a DRAGONMAID back. So the final thing I'm gonna do to put that extra umph on this board is give myself an additional follow-up. What I'm actually going to do here is I'm gonna add Nurse DRAGONMAID and discard Nurse DRAGONMAID. Then I will go ahead and use the Tidying, and I'll summon out one of my maids. So this is crazy extension. I don't need to do this because I can't change over twice, but we definitely could just bring Nurse back and use Nurse to summon again. That's just crazy how powerful and explosive this deck is. But I'm just gonna summon Chamber, bounce her with my changeover, graveyard effect, activate changeover, and since Red MD is a much more powerful follow-up, I'm gonna fuse off the Gator as the higher level dragon, summon my Shao. My zone placement should be a little better, but... And then finally, so this is actually the best board. And this is the last combo too, so I'm glad that I'm ending the video on this. This is actually the best board. I'm just going to fast forward, summon the Recharger. So you have Shao, Crystal Wing, Savage, Fierce, Tidying with Red MD up. Nuts. Deck's just broken, you guys. Deck's just broken.